Over the past week or so, providing the rain would let me, I sprayed lacquers on everything. I did all the bookcases, the shelving, all the molding, and this is the face frame that will be going on this 87-inch wide base cabinet. This is all sprayed inside and out, all the sides. Came up very nice. So what we'll do today is we'll attach it, and then we'll start working the doors in first, and then we'll do the drawers. We'll set the drawers. Now I put a piece in here to show you just what lacquer does, just on bare wood. And it's like if you took a rag with water and wet it, but only it stays that color permanently. So you can see how it draws out the wood texture just as stain would do. So anyway, I'm going to get to work now, and I'll set the tripod up, and you'll see how this cabinet will take shape into a finished product. Okay, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to attach these wood blocks. They're 3/4 by 3/4, and they're about 7 inches long, and they'll be placed up in here. So I already piled a hole, and what I want to do is just add a little bit of wood glue. And on the opposite side also. Put that right in here. Get our screw gun. Okay. Build pressure. Okay, and we'll get another one up here. Well, I thought I'd give you a little look, see how everything's coming along. I'm taking my time, and I'm setting the drawer glides up. And as you can notice, coming along nice. And I have my little dummy doors in place here. That's done. And as you can see, the way these are designed, see if we can zoom in a little bit for you. See that reveal? See how this drawer is sticking out a little bit? Well, when I put the face frame on, it's going to stay away from the face frame a little bit. That's what you want. You don't want it touching and rubbing and making marks in the front. So even though I will put some cushions on the door and the drawer fronts, so just in case they will get pushed back a little bit. But that's the way we want them to sit, and this is the way the company does it. Now these are full extension, and then when we push them in a little bit, they close themselves. So everything's coming along nice, and we'll get it all set up. Take our time. Okay, as you can see, we're making nice progress. We're lining the drawers up very, very nicely. Just to give you an idea what's going on here. So they're full extension, and when we put them back so far, they'll close themselves. Very nice. So I'm centering them up, getting them centered, and my space is all even. And then this is the door. This is our makeshift door, so the top of the drawer front has to be even with the top of the door, and the same thing down at the bottom. So that's why I put this on. I don't, like I said earlier, I don't want to put the doors on because you can bang them very easily, and we don't want to do that. So on the other side, I'll be working on these now, and we'll get that done. Well, she's complete, and I just finished putting the doors on. And as you've seen earlier, the drawers. And it's a full extension and self-closing. Come out very, very nice. The doors look good. I just wiped them down, and when I do the installation, I'll give them a good wiping down with furniture polish. So everything looks real nice. And as you've seen in the very beginning, I put all the peg holes for the adjustable shelving, so it has one shelf. If they want more, I'd be happy to make it for them. It's not a problem. What we're going to do here is we're going to assemble the 56-inch wide floor-to-ceiling bookcase, and these are the sides or cheeks, and this is the outside naturally, and the inside. Now it's got a 1/2-inch notch here to accept a 1/2-inch back panel. Sorry for the pausing, but I'm thinking as I'm talking. So, but this will make a nice solid back. Now you remember we had to splice this together, and this is the back of it. Of course, this is the back right here that we're looking at. It's not finished on this side, obviously, but this side here is, and I have it, so it's protecting. So anyway, this is going to be our 1/2-inch back plate for our 56-inch wide bookcase. And over here we have our bottom plate and our top plate. Now what I did here is I notched, this is the support shelf, and I gave it a notch here, and this extends out 3/8 of an inch, and this is set back. And that will fit right into here. This is going to slide right into there, and then this part here will mount over here, right in here. So you'll see how this is done. And this is the support shelf. Okay, the back is secured, and I put a lot of 1.5-inch brads in there, so the back is secured. Now I don't use any glue because during shipping and installation, the seams just crack. So there's so many staples in here or brads, it's not going to come apart. So there's lots. Come out really nice. It's nice and square. From diagonal to diagonal is 109 1/4, both sides. So everything looks nice. So now, and the next step is that I'll flip it over, and I'll start attaching the base, the header, and the fluted moldings. And then the shelving will be installed at location. Now what I'm doing here is as you remember, I cut a dado or a groove in the fluted molding, and I also cut one in the walls of the bookcases. Now I put some glue in here, and as you can see there's some glue here. Now we'll just insert it, and I want to leave it 1/8 of an, or 1/16 of an inch I should say, beyond this surface here. So when we put our top plate on, it will exceed down a little bit, and that's the way you want it to look. And like I was saying earlier, that this here is 3 1/4 of an inches. Okay, you always want the top shallower than the bottoms, and then this one also is 3 1/4. Now when we come down to the bottoms, this is 5-inch from this point here to this point here. So that's 5-inch. So you always want this taller. When you walk into the room, you'll see what I'm talking about. So now I'll attach the other plates. This is the bottom plate, which is ready to go in. Okay, I just finished putting the top header on, and this will carry the crown molding. So we'll just go over everything. So everything's looking really nice. Now this is our fixed shelf, And it has the illusion that it's adjustable because all the other shelves will be at the same depth behind the fluted molding. We have a 3/4 inch overlay here. Over here, I'm going to let this set up overnight. There's just a little bit of glue back in here, both sides, so we'll let that just adhere overnight. Now over here I have a couple toe screws. This is fastened in here with just little tacks, little tiny pin screws with my little pinner gun. I put those in with. And then there's two 2.5 inch screws that just tie into here. So we'll just try and keep this joint tight. These joints are always a little bit of a bugger. Because, you know, this is the only way we can do it is on big items like this is just to fasten them as we get to them. So we try to make them as tight as possible. Now in here, there's going to be a stair-base molding, and that's going to be 3 1/4. This is 3 1/2 from here down to here, which is even with this bottom edge here. So it'll give you a 1/4 inch reveal. So we'll see this little bit here. And all this here will be hidden. Okay, now as we go up to the top, there's going to be a filler piece here that's going to come in. And when I bring my crown molding in, that will be filled in. And then up here, this is the way this will look. Now there's going to be a 2-inch gap. This is 94 inches from bottom to top tips. And of course our ceiling's 8 foot, which is 96 inches. And then this here will pick it right up. This will carry the other 2 inches. And it'll tie it right into the ceiling. So everything's coming along very nice. I'm real happy with it. And as we talked about before, there's a seam somewhere in here. Now remember, this is a 56 inch backer piece. And we can only get it in 48 inches. So we had to make a seam here. So as you can see, it's right here. So that came out really, really nice. I'm very happy with that. I'm sure the customer will never notice it, and that's what we want to do. We want to just make everything very pleasing. Putting together the 20-inch wide bookcase, this is the one that goes next to the entry to the library. So it's coming along very nicely. So I'll keep you informed how it all takes place. Okay, it's completed. The 20-inch bookcase is completed. I'm going to have to trim the shelves, so they'll be done in a couple days. Today I want to assemble 87-inch, and that's with the shorter one, the 5-bay bookcase, and that's with these fluted moldings, the shorter ones. So this will be done today, and then I'm going to have to work on, that's behind this tarp here, the floor to ceiling 45-degree angle. So that's about 85 cents complete. I just have to add the fluted moldings, which are right here sitting backwards looking at us. So I will start setting it up now. Okay, now with all the walls attached in this 5-bay bookcase, I trimmed them, and everything is coming along nice. And I add screws here, put 5 in each tier, all the way along. Keep it nice and tight. It's coming along nice. Now, what I want to do is I'm trying to figure out the exact height. I can manipulate this up to about 1/2 inch, and that's the height. Now, the trick of it is that these holes, these shelf holes, have to line up with the other bookcases. So you can't walk into the room and look at the top one and notice that, you know, that looks like it's about 8 inches, and over here it kind of looks like it's about 10. So what's going on there? The eye will pick it up. So I had to be very careful. So what I did is I allowed myself some additional room to trim these accordingly. So that's already done. Finished dadoing the bottom foot moldings for the walls of the bookcases. Now, what I did is I mitered them, okay, on both sides. We have them all mitered, except for these two. This just has a half miter over here. And these are going to go on the outside walls, okay? So this one will tuck in against the wall. So I'm just letting it overhang about 1/4 of an inch right here. So if I have to trim it, now this is going to butt up against the wall, this side right here, the drywall, okay? This will be the back of the bookcase, the very back. And this will tuck right up against the wall. Now, I'm figuring about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 5/16, and that's what I have here. So if I have to trim it a little bit, I can do that. Now I have the back panel on, it's attached. And to give you an idea, now this will be naturally against the drywall. And you can see how much further this molding sticks out. Now, like I mentioned, I can trim it as I need to. And then we have this guy here, the same thing. A little bit of an overhang. So I don't expect it to be that far out of shape. I was at the job site naturally. And the walls are very nice. So now we can see how this molding is going to play. As you can see, it's mitered back here. And then we'll run a molding over here. We'll tie that in. We'll fix it to the back. And we'll do the same all the way through. So it makes a real nice detail. Gives it a better look too. It's sitting on like a foot platform. And then, as you know, just pretend that this top here is going to be a solid walnut top. And we're just going to come out a little bit more. So that's the idea of it. But it looks very nice, don't you agree? So then we have all of our feather grains pointing upward. So that's what we want. Everything looks nice and even. So I'm going to lay it back on its back, I should say. And I'll start attaching the fluted moldings. And again, we have these slotted. So we'll put a long strip in there, and also on the back of the fluted molding is the same strip, or groove I should say, and that will tie it in. So this way we don't use any nails in the front. Now I just finished putting on the rest of the foot molding, and it looks came out really nice. It's nice and tight. The corners are really nice. So I'll try to zoom in there for you. But you get an idea what I'm up to. And it's coming along really nice. Now I put these in these strips, and there's a groove on the back side of the fluted molding, so as you know they'll glue right in. Well, we're putting the fluted moldings on now, and we're gluing them in. They're coming along very nice. This is really starting to take shape. I put the headpiece on, and I had to give it a good clamping because the board was just a little bit out of whack. But I wanted to get these joints nice and tight, where the fluted molding meets the header. So that's all done. I have these special pipe clamps on here, and they make it nice and tight. So as you can see, everything's coming along really nice. So I'll just let this dry. Today's Friday, and I'll probably just let it set over the weekend because come Tuesday I'm going to have to get all these up there, and then over here we have the corner cabinet, which is protected. So we'll just let that go till Monday. Like I said earlier, that's 85% done, so just a little bit of molding work, and that'll be an easy day. And then Tuesday, I can start taking some of this up and get it up there ready for the installation. And while I'm up there, I'll make the template for the countertop and get that done, and then get that up there and installed.